This conference will now be recorded.
Can someone help me to know if my screen is visible?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. So yeah, today we are going to see what is cloud computing and what is Azure Cloud. We'll go through some real world use cases as well during the session. So let's get started. So before we move into the actual definition of cloud computing, uh, let's discuss a scenario um of buying a car versus utilizing a ride sharing application. So this slide, you can see a representation where one person is riding his own car and the other is actually using a carpooling system where he is using the sharing application for his daily office commute or something. So let's discuss the scenario, the first scenario, that is owning a car. So imagine you buy your own car. You will choose the brand, the model, and the color, everything. Once you purchase, you start maintaining it. You will be refilling the fuel. You will be purchasing a new insurance for your car. You will be doing regular services, everything, right? So once you purchase a car, you are going to pay upfront and you will be owning it. Once you own it, whether you use it daily or once a week, the car will be always yours, right? So once car breaks down, it's your responsibility to take it to a service center and get it serviced. So now let's convert all these terms into the software side. So this owning a car refers to the on premises, the term that I have mentioned in the title. So on premises is something which is available on the premise. That means which is physically available uh, for someone. So in IT terms, on-premise means you own and you manage everything like servers, networking, storage, backups, etc. The advantages of having on-premise systems is like you will be having the full control. The disadvantages is like when it comes to the infrastructure, sometimes the like in this scenario, the model of the car that you purchase depends on the model, the price will vary, right? So the total cost may vary. So that is one of the disadvantages, because if you are not using the car for your daily not for your daily commute purpose, you are using it only once in a while, then the investment that you are making will be kind of a higher in terms of your savings or your uh, like actual cost that you are not uh, purchasing a car, right? So in that terms, this on premises is kind of bit disadvantages. But when it compared to the ride sharing application scenario, let's convert the ride sharing application into a cloud computing system. So this cloud versus on premise, we discussed on premises with uh, a person who is owning his own car. Cloud computing will refer to the ride sharing application scenario. So in cloud computing, uh, you get the car you when you needed it. Not every time you will be having the car at your home. When you are looking for a particular car for your ride, you will open the application and you will make a booking. That's how it works, right? So during the booking, you can choose the type of the car, whether it is SUV or sedan, etc., based on the situation or based on the availability. So in that case, you are not going to have any maintenance cost spent on this ride sharing app for the car that you're going to ride. And you don't have to worry about any parking fees, no fuel cost. You pay only when you use it, right? So this is what we can relate it to a cloud computing system. So in IT terms, let's say cloud computing means you access the IT resources on demand over the network, and you only pay for what you are using. So you will be paying only for the hours that you're traveling in the ride sharing car, right? So the carpooling system that you are opting for. So that means the hardware investment that you're putting it is zero here. That is one of the advantage, and whatever you are using, you are paying only for that. That is another advantage. So the disadvantages of cloud computing is like you don't have the control. I mean, you have control, but you have minimal control over the infrastructure, because the car is not yours, right? It is somebody else's car. And security wise or data residency concerns, like depending on the region, the car will be coming from a different region, right? But you are supposed to book this particular car for your current uh, office travel. So that is how it varies when it comes to cloud computing. So I hope you guys are able to relate these two scenarios for cloud computing and on-premises data services. Okay, we'll uh, discuss like why. Okay, maybe we'll discuss the term what is cloud computing. So cloud computing allows users to access and use computing resources like servers, storage, and software over the internet instead of owning them and managing them on premises. So they don't need a physical infrastructure to have all these resources. That is what we call as cloud computing. Okay. So any and also like we will be, whenever we use any computing resources, it's like we are going to pay only for what we are using. Okay, that is what is cloud computing. Okay, now moving to the benefits of having a cloud computing system. It basically, in general, we can say it's an on-demand self-service, I mean, self-service resources, right? We can purchase based on our requirement. If we want a certain resource from the cloud, we can purchase it as and when we require it. And we have many resources available, right? So it's like it's a broad network, but uh, we can choose what we need. So this benefits that you are seeing here in this picture, it says it's scalable, flexible, reliable. It can be rapidly deployed, improved collaboration, considering the security factor and cost savings. It is also good having a cloud computing system is good. So when we say cost efficient or cost saving, be- yeah, it is just because you are paying only for the services that you are utilizing, and scalable and flexible. So if you want to use more resources, then it can be easily scaled up. And whenever you are not using, you can actually reduce resources that you are not using it. So that means it is flexible as well as scalable and reliable. uh, Basically, even though the most of the times these cloud computing systems is let's say it can be 99.9% it will be available, unless and until like there will be a major network problem that is going to happen. But still, companies like Azure are agreeing, are they are conveying that they can provide 99.9% of the network services, the cloud computing services, without any failures. So with that much reliability, we can use any of the cloud computing services that is available in the market. And it's also highly available, right? Because as a user, we can approach, like we can purchase any of the resources, like Amazon Web Services is widely used, Google Cloud Platform is widely used, even Azure is also widely used by most of the organizations. And yeah, so yeah, when it comes to the security and the improved collaboration factors, it's like in terms of security, these providers like Azure, AWS, or GCP, they offer enterprise level high grade security with some compliance certifications, and they will be continuously monitoring their security services. If there is any like interruptions or any other like security issues happen in their network, they will be actually capturing that, like any fraud activities will be captured and immediately identified and reported. So they have specific, what we say, systems or applications for identifying and accessing all these fraudulent activities. So basically, this benefits of having a cloud computing system is like meeting the demands of a modern, fast moving world, where we have the scalability and flexibility to use the modern services rather than continuing with the traditional IT infrastructures. So that is what we can say in the benefits side. Um, so now let's see the difference of having a cloud computing service and on-premises service in terms of all the benefits that we discussed so far. So when we say it is scalable, cloud services are scalable. Why? Because we can use them as much as we want, and we can reduce the resources whenever we don't require them. But when it comes to on-premise, when we increase the use of a particular uh, resource, we cannot go back and reduce it, because if we go back and reduce the use of that resource, actually we have invested on that, right? So the investment cost will be a loss. So the scalability wise, the infrastructure, everything, the on-premise system cannot be scalable, because once it is scaled up, we cannot degrade it. That is one of the difference between scalability among on-premise and cloud services. And when it comes to server storage, since cloud is providing server storages in the cloud platform, we don't have to invest that much money, because even though we invest the money, it is only for the memory or the storages that we are utilizing, we are paying it. If you are not utilizing a particular space, we are not paying. But once something is server storages are physically located somewhere, let's say we have a large unit which is physically available, but we are not utilizing that server storage for a longer period of time, the investment made will be a loss, right? So that is a disadvantage of on-premise systems. And when it comes to data security, cloud systems are more secure, and there is no need to monitor them manually. The systems are already integrated, and there are applications that will automatically identify the fraudulent activities. But for on-premise system, obviously we need a security system to monitor the security issues manually. Yeah. So yes. And when it comes to data loss, we can say once data is lost from an on-premise system, it is very difficult to retrieve it back. But in cloud systems, there is a functionality for data recovery, where data will be archived, uh, or we can say data will be curated, uh, that actually prevents the data loss. So when we say data curated, it will be curated for a longer period. So let's say data will be curated for or archived for 5-10 years, or mostly maximum 5 years only, because of storage issues. So even within 5 years, if the organization or a particular team, if they want to retrieve their data, they can actually retrieve it from cloud. But let's say in the on-premise system, if something happens to the network or the storage system, the data is lost, and then it is always lost. We cannot gain it back. That is one, again, another disadvantages of on-premise system. And maintenance wise also, for maintaining this on-premise system, always we have to invest money on this. But we don't have to invest money on a cloud-based system, because it's already available. The maintenance facilities, the tools are already available. If you want to use it, we can plug in and use it. If we want to remove it, we can remove it. Yes. So that is all about uh, on-premises versus cloud comparison. So this is just a description of what I have explained so far. So you can see the tick marks which are pros of on-premises and cloud computing systems, and the cross marks shows the disadvantages among them. So when we say the infrastructure ownership, it's actually, when we have an infrastructure, it is like we are having the full control over the servers and the networks and the data center. But since cloud is providing something, like if you are also using Azure or AWS or GCP, you don't have the ownership. You are not the owner. You are just buying something from Azure or AWS. So the resources that you are getting from Azure is like a rented resource that the cloud provider is providing you. That is actually a disadvantage, but it's not a major disadvantages. But it's like we don't have the ownership. We can be easily buy something, and we can uh, opt out also if we don't want. When it comes to the investment or the money that we are going to invest, the hardware, the facilities, or the other extra facilities that we are going to build for the on-premise systems will be high, on the higher side. But whereas in the cloud computing, we are using the pay-as-you-go model. On the scalability side also, this cloud computing systems are instantly scalable, whereas this cannot be, because it will actually increase the physical capacity, the infrastructure, everything. And maintenance and management, this requires an in-house IT team to update for the hardware failures. So a separate team is required for maintenance and management in on-premise, whereas there are certain services which are already built under this cloud computing systems, which will handle all this maintenance activities. When it comes to security and compliance, on-premise will have a separate security system or security team who will be monitoring, and they will have the full control over their data. But here it's a shared responsibility. Everybody should be responsible, and also there is a trusted provider who will be managing the configurations. And the speed and the disaster recovery methods, if you see, speed wise, cloud computing is more far better when it comes to the on premises, for setting up things, for having a new resource in place. And disaster recovery, as I already mentioned, there are many data loss prevention methods available in cloud computing, whereas in on premise, even though we can have some dedicated infrastructure and plans, that will again increase the cost. And accessibility, uh, this cloud computing resources are accessible globally, and this is like limited to certain network where they have the access. Flexibility, it is flexible when it comes to cloud computing. And here it is like once we establish a physical location, whatever the infrastructure we are going to build over there, that will be a fixed infrastructure. So it is not kind of a flexible one. And customizations can be made in on-premise system based on the business need. But in the cloud, once we may establish everything, there can be some limitations. Let's say the business is asking for a new requirement which is not possible with the existing cloud application that we are using, then it will be kind of a limitation, right? We cannot establish that particular requirement into the existing uh, cloud service that is built on. So that is one of kind of a major uh, disadvantage. But in most of the cases, these cloud services like Azure, AWS, and all, as they are actually increasing the services that they are providing. They are having more resources. They are able to connect to multiple databases or multiple resources where uh, like individual companies are using. So it's kind of more accessible, and it's kind of flexible as well to adapt any new tools and any other services. So this is all about cloud computing and how we can relate cloud computing to to an on-premise system. So maybe I will pause for a moment. Maybe you guys can ask if you have any doubts.
Hello.
Yeah,
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 Harish here.
Harish.
And
Yeah.
like scalability in the sense increasing the volume of data that can be stored as well.
Yes, yes. So the resources that we are utilizing, if you want to add a new resource into your current project, you have to purchase new resources, right? So it can be purchased at any moment. But for on-premise system, you have to decide it at the very first. The beginning is the crucial phase in an on-premise system. In the beginning, you should define everything. Like you need these many resources, and after that, once you start the implementation, and if you change the requirement, it will be very hard to implement in an on-premise system.
Okay, later we cannot change the configuration. That's what.
Yes, yes. You can change, but that will have extra cost impact.
Of course, sometimes we might have to install from the beginning.
Yes, yes, obviously. That will obviously increase the cost.
Yeah.
Okay, any other doubts? Okay, maybe I will add few more points. Like you can see that many of the companies are now moving to the cloud. That's where the requirements are, the profiles they are looking for are actually having a mention that people should have experience in the cloud, right? So why these companies are moving to the cloud, that is one thing you guys should note it down, because we have the environments, uh, I mean larger environments in a real time. So larger environments in the sense the data that they process will be huge. So in that environment, everything should be available within minutes, or within a fraction of second we should be able to do something, right? Like we do our internet banking, like we do a UPI payment. So it everything should be done in a fraction of second or within minutes. That kind of speed is possible in cloud services. That's why companies are opting for cloud. And when it comes to cost optimization, they don't need to uh, over provision anything. Everything is already available. We just have to opt it whatever we need, and we just can release something in future also. If whenever we don't need a resource, we can release it. So cost wise, it is actually flexible. And since services like Azure, AWS, or whatever it is, they are not providing their service only to a particular region. Like they are not providing only to the US clients, right? We can even in India also they are providing the service. Most of the global areas are covered by Azure cloud providers. Even same goes with the AWS and GCP. So because of their global reach, more companies are adopting to their services. And innovation, when it comes to innovation, companies maybe one at the moment they were building something, they will implement whatever they want based on the requirement. But in future, if they want to add innovations, like they want to integrate AI, they want to do some analytics, they want to do some machine learning activities. So everything is already available in the cloud platform. So these cloud providers are providing them. So whenever the company is thinking about an innovation, they can directly opt for the innovation that this particular cloud service is providing, and they can use it based on their requirement. So it is flexible whenever we need it. So that is another major factor when company thinks of an innovation. And the other factors, like already we discussed, disaster recovery, and it is highly available. And yeah, these are the major things. And when it comes, maybe you guys might be thinking, at least some of you might be thinking, there are still some companies which are not choosing the cloud providers. So those companies are like they are more concerned about the security and the compliance part. So they might be having some strict regulations. Like most of the cases, it is with the healthcare industry or the finance industry or with the government as well, because they have a sensitive or confidential data in their side, and they have some strict regulations on their data. So they are bit tensed before they implement before the even actually the thing of implementing their business into the cloud platform, because if something happens to the cloud system, they are thinking that their sensitive data might be highly impacted. So that is why some of the legacy systems, existing systems, are not uh, moving forward to the cloud. But still there are some legacy systems which are choosing migration. But when they are choosing the migration to the cloud, they will be thinking two factors mainly: whether it is expensive or is risky. Based on the expense category or the riskiness involved, they might or might not move into the cloud. And since the data is increasing nowadays, even though we are using pay as you go model in the cloud services, the cost of the resources that we are utilizing can vary. Maybe uh, in the healthcare system itself, we can say, let's say we are deploying a healthcare application in the cloud, and during Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., not 12 p.m., 7 p.m., we can say, the office hours are more, right? So the during these hours, the OP tickets will be in high. So people will be consulting doctors, so they will be enrolling and they will be having a consultant, right? So in that case, during these hours, they are utilizing the resources. But after 7 p.m., the resources usage will be minimal. So during the time when we are utilizing the resources more, the charge uh, or the bill that we get for these resources will be on a high side, but during the late hours it will be on the lower side. So some companies will have a fear: what if I get a uh, like higher bill when I adopt to this cloud platform? That is one of the factor which they are why they are not choosing, why they are not preferring the cloud providers. And another important thing is like, if the companies don't having the right skill or the expertise in their along with their staff, then they will actually step back from implementing to the cloud, because they need to hire new resources, right? So that is another thing. Yeah, that's all about some of the points that I want to discuss.
Yarti, what is
Yeah,
SaaS platforms? Can you tell that?
sorry, what is?
You have written over here on your slide like SaaS platforms or something.
uh,
Some limitation based on
yeah, yeah.
providers. Yeah, what
Yes,
is
yes.
that?
So I have that in the next slide in the coming slide.
Okay.
But SaaS is nothing but software as a service. That is simply, you can say, it's an application like your mobile application. It's a software application. So some limitations based on provider services. Provider in the sense the whole Azure or the whole AWS cloud provider, or in their one of their platforms, one of their software platform. If they are providing one service like Azure Data Factory, it's an application, or Databricks. So if they have certain limitations in one of these applications, that can also impact the customization. So like if they don't have a particular when it comes to database connectivity, I think on the first day somebody was asking whether we are able to connect to MongoDB. So if that connection to MongoDB feature is not present in Azure, and your business need a connection to MongoDB, and you are noticing it after implementing everything, so that is a limitation, right? Because now you can't customize it, because Azure itself is not providing that service. I mean that application. So that application we can say it as a SaaS. It's actually not a SaaS, it's a service, but maybe you can, for time being, you can think it as a SaaS platform.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, shall I move to the next slide? Okay. Yeah. So coming to the next topic, okay, in continuation with the cloud computing that we are discussing today. So when we say deploying the cloud uh, system in our company or our organization, we can deploy it. Generally, they deploy it in three ways. So one is public cloud, one is private, and one is hybrid. So mostly from the name itself, you can understand public cloud means something that is publicly available, like a bus service, a transport service that can be utilized for any public. So we can utilize that service. That is what Azure, AWS, or GCP is providing. But when it comes to private cloud, it's like having your own car. You have a car, you are actually using it for your personal purposes. So in the actual terms, it's like a company who is having their own private network or private cloud services. And when it comes to hybrid cloud, it's like you are uh, having a ride in a taxi. So it's like publicly available, but you are opting it for a certain period. So it's like it's a combination of both public as well as private. So that's what a deployment model, the three types of deployment model that is possible in cloud computing system. So we can see that it already we have seen that it is scalable. So all these three types of cloud computing are scalable. If you see here, compared to the public, private and hybrid are more secure because public is available to everyone. So compared to that, this private and hybrid networks are more secure. This is easily understandable, right? So, and when it comes to cost side, this public networks are inexpensive. We can just connect to them and we can use it for our purpose. And when it comes to private, it is kind of flexible. When we say flexible, we can customize it based on the organization's need. If an organization need only certain services, they can customize it based on their requirement. Like they can integrate with their internal systems and all. And same goes with the hybrid. It is adaptable basically based on the scalability. They don't have to fully implement all the features. They can choose whatever they want. And location independent is another factor for public. So public, we can access it from anywhere, right? But for private, only if you are an employee of a particular organization, then you will be able to access the organization's network. The guest or the outsiders will not be able to access the private network unless they are provided with the access. And hybrid is cost effective because it can be easily switched from either public or private. So it is not always using the same type of implementation, right? Deployment. So that is what the advantages of all these three types of cloud computing. Yes, now we have the slide for uh, what is IaaS, SaaS, and PaaS. These are nothing but cloud service models. In the previous slide, we have seen the deployment models in the cloud computing system. Here we are going to see the service models. These are something uh, these are something that we can say providing some service. So when we say Azure or AWS, that is a cloud provider, cloud service provider. So what are the services they are providing? That can be categorized as three. One is infrastructure as a service. You can see infrastructure as a service, then software as a service, and then another category is platform as a service. So SaaS is nothing but the applications that the end user will be using it. Platform as a service is like some platforms are already readily available. We can plug and play like that. Infrastructure is like the virtual network or other computing resources that are available. We have to convert it to, like if you want to use 10 GB of a particular virtual network, you can customize it and use it based on the requirement like that. So maybe I can walk you through some example. Like in the real world scenario, think of there is a coffee shop and you are maybe okay, Kabida is actually starting a coffee shop, and think of you running that shop as an individual. You don't have anybody else to support, and this is your business, right? So you can either do it by everything yourself, or you can outsource it to other people, and you can get services from by hiring few people and get the services done, right? So now it everything depends on Kavida's time and Kavida's uh, like uh, what do you say, interest. So in her interest, like she is thinking, okay, I don't want to uh, hire anyone, I will be doing my business all alone by myself. So that is one way of thinking. But now let's say we are going to adopt that into a cloud services term. Like this scenario, we will convert it into cloud services term. So actually the coffee shop that she is having is a rented building, is in a rented building. So let's say it is in a shopping mall. So you have to pay the rent for that building every month. So that is an infrastructure cost, right? So that is what we consider as infrastructure as a service. You are actually uh, paying for what you are using. And in technical terms, you can say infrastructure, like it's a virtual machine, we can say it, infrastructure. Then storage spaces that you're utilizing, the network, whatever you install on your actual operating system in your laptop, like databases, software applications. Similar to that, you have to buy virtual machines. You have to opt for storage spaces and networks. So you manage what you need, and you don't have to worry about the hardware side of it. You just have to purchase whatever need. How they have built the virtual network is nothing that you don't have to pick in your mind. You just have to buy whatever you need. So that is what is infrastructure as a service. Usually this infrastructure as a service is used by administration team, like in system admins, infrastructure teams, uh, whoever having control over the application will be using this.
One second. Or any
Yeah,
example of this infrastructure as a service?
yeah, I have already mentioned virtual machine. You can consider as a what you say, infrastructure as a service. Yeah.
Anything?
Storage networks, the storage space that you are utilizing from a cloud provider. Even though we are using either Azure or AWS, we have to store our data into their service, right? So for that,
Oh,
we need to purchase their storages.
so is the infrastructure and platform.
Yes, platform is nothing but we have something already available. Like okay, uh, okay, the database that you install in your normal machine, the same database is provided by Azure or AWS, right? I mean, a database service is being provided. That is a platform. Even though you install a
Database.
standalone,
Oh,
yes, a database in your laptop, you are actually using something readily available, right? So same way, Azure is also providing you. That is a platform provided by Azure.
so database comes under platform and storage space comes under infrastructure. Oh.
Yes, yes. Storage space and network, everything. And when it comes to software as a service, um, okay, considering the scenario of Kabida's coffee shop, you are okay. Harish is going to her shop and he's buying a cup of coffee. So now what he's actually getting is a cup of coffee, right? So in technical terms, he don't have to worry about, Harish is not going to worry how Kabda is preparing the coffee. Only thing is he just need a coffee, one cup of coffee, that's it. So you don't have to worry about any installation process or any updates. You are just purchasing maybe the Outlook platform or the Gmail that we are utilizing. Every day we are using Gmail to send some emails, right? Or Outlook to send some emails. The same way there is an application or a software that we can utilize as a service. That is what we call it as softwares that are provided by the cloud services as a service. Okay. So this is something like which is already available. We can consume it. These are something which is readily available, but we have to plug it and then connect everything and then use it. This is like all the or management, like operation management, like networking, storage, servers, everything we have to set up, like configuration part we can say. Yeah, any doubts? Okay. Yeah, so here I have some nodes. So infrastructure as a service is mostly used by network team, so mostly by administration team, everyone. And platform as a service, there are multiple platforms available. So when it comes to a project, developers will be the person, or the technical lead will be designing the system, right? So while they design, they should be knowing what are the platforms that are provided by their chosen cloud provider. If they are choosing Azure, they should be knowing, okay, what are the services provided by Azure. If they have certain service like Azure SQL or Azure Synapse or Azure Data Factory, they have to choose whether they need this particular service in their requirement. Based on that, they will design the technical data flow or data pipeline. So that is how the role of developers comes in this layer. And when it comes to software as a service, once they develop something, they have to make it customer friendly, or they have to have something that should be interacting with the end user. So something that can be used by the end users will be available as a software. So that software that is readily available inside Azure can be utilized to perform the end user's operation. Yeah, that's all about IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. Yeah, so far we have discussed what is cloud computing, and we have covered the deployment models, the benefits of cloud computing, and the service models, that is IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. Now we have to cover Azure. So what is Azure Cloud? So now maybe I will not uh, like make you people uh, like dumb with all the concepts together. So today we will just start with what Azure is, like how we can relate it with the real world scenario, and I will not go much deeper into the tools or the services that Azure provides. Okay, so maybe I will uh, introduce you to a story. Here you can see Lily is having a lemonade stand. So she is actually having a small business where she is running the small lemonade stand in her neighborhood. So this lemonade stand is basically more customers are attracted during the summer season, but her business slows down during the winter or in the other seasons. So but she wants to know like how well she can maintain the business even after summer. So she was thinking of an idea whether we I can implement something so that I will get more customers during winter as well. So she was thinking of that idea, and she got to know from her friend that if she can have a website where customers can place an order, then her business will grow. So but she is thinking she don't have any technical idea of what needs to be done, or how much money will need to be invested. Maybe she is not aware whether she have to hire some people to do all these things, right? So that is where she come to know from her friend that Microsoft Azure Cloud Service is a cloud service that provides a platform that works like renting a digital tool. Instead of buying everything just for building the business, we can rent whatever we can have it rented for based on our purpose. So in this business scenario, Lily is actually planning to launch a website using one of the Microsoft Azure's platform called Azure Web Application. So using that, she is actually launching a website where she will have her store in online, her database, like the customer details, the order placed, all the information will be stored in the cloud database. So she don't have any mm, specific staff to all these things. Everything is provided by Azure Cloud. She just have to figure out what service she has to utilize to achieve her task. So that is how she has implemented an online business where she is making more money without knowing the technical concepts behind. Uh, without knowing the technical concepts in the sense, uh, like without having the hustle to know all the factors behind setting up a infrastructure, getting the platform ready, and having the software built or the website ready for customers to use. That is how flexible Azure is providing the services for everyone. So she don't have to uh, invest much on her setting up the online business. She just have to use Azure web application for launch her website, have a secure cloud database which is provided by Azure Cloud, and she has to have an identity service where she has to maintain her details, as well as if she has any other staff to assist with, like like an employee information stored in an employee table, the unique information of every single person involved in the business can be stored in an identity service. Then later, once everything is done, let's say her business is clicking and she is going to get 10,000 orders in a day. So that is something she can't manage it with an offline business. So once she get a huge order like that, she is actually kind of interested in knowing this how well the sales went. So she can utilize the dashboards, she can utilize the Power BI functionality within Power BI platforms, SAS, which is available in the Azure cloud, to see how her sales is growing. So that is how she will be utilizing the like Azure cloud services to understand the business. So yeah, that is a scenario related to this example. So if anybody has any doubts, you can start asking. I will pause for a while. Just a quick question. So are you guys able to follow, or am I uh, going too fast or too slow?
Can you summarize this example? Like what
Yeah,
exact? She is owning a on-premise and she wants to move to on cloud, right?
exactly. Yes.
Some of the reports.
Yeah. So basically, Lily was holding a owning a offline business shop. She just want to move it to the online business platform where she can actually attract business even in the off season period. So this is just to build or grow her business. So that is why she was moving from on premise to cloud. So she was actually utilizing the services offered by the cloud system like Azure SQL database or Power BI system for monitoring, or web application for building the website. She also, one more thing, she could have done this just by building a random website with any of the website builders, right? There are many website builders available online, but why she is purposefully selecting Azure is just because the extra services or the data integration part, she can integrate the dashboards from Power BI. She can connect to her database securely within Azure itself. She can customize it based on her needs. In the existing web application or website builders, customization is very limited, right? So that is where uh, Azure or any other cloud services plays a vital role.
The same can be done with on-prem also, right? You can have a website at any place, and all the data comes to on-prem, and
Mm.
later that can be moved to any of the visualization tools. So why
Yes, that.
only Azure
Hmm.
is because that calculation can be done on cloud itself. That's what you're saying.
That is one thing, but the major thing is like coming to the cost. So when she starts to implement something by her own on premise again, she is already running a business, and her business is down during off season, like winter season and other seasons. Only in summer she is having her business on the higher side. So if she invests more during the off season, she will be in a loss if that is not going to click it out, right? So that is where we can utilize, like whenever people are placing the orders, then only the cloud services will be utilized. So only when the cloud resources are utilized, she has to pay the bill for what she is utilizing. But if she is building an on-premise setup to run this business, she is actually investing her full money, but only when she gets some orders, she will be able to utilize this whatever is invested, the hardware or any other network, storage, server, everything, right? So this is kind of flexibility or scalability, we can say, since cloud providers give you the control, like pay as you go approach. I hope you got it, or if you have any doubts, you can ask.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Anybody else?
So,
Yeah.
so in this course, what
Yeah, sir.
majorly you will be covering from the testing standpoint and
Yeah.
on this services standpoint, like ADF or Databricks or something?
Yeah. Sort of actually, were you available in the first session of the course, or
No,
yesterday? Okay.
I was not
Okay.
there. Yesterday I joined.
Okay. Okay. I can bring the curriculum. Okay. So we are having a 40 days duration for this entire course, and the course will be on happening on every Monday to Friday on 1 hour basis on the same time that we are running now. So this is kind of like week 1, 2 and 3. We'll be covering the concepts and the SQL sites. Okay, concepts, we are just into the day 2. So right, yesterday we have covered ETL testing, the concepts behind ETL testing and data warehouse. Today we are
Okay.
covering cloud computing side, like that. We have some concepts we will be covering in the first few days, then only we'll move into the SQL, which is something very important for ETL testers. Then after
Okay.
that, we'll move into Python and the pandas library within Python. We will see the basics of Python, and then we'll work with the pandas library for data cleansing and data analyzing activities. We will work on it, and then basically based on the testing perspective. Okay, and
Okay. Okay.
then we will move to the Databricks side. We will have hands-on on every sessions, even for SQL also we have the hands-on. Same
Hmm.
goes with Azure Data Factory. So Databricks and Data Factory is something data engineers are going to use it to build their data pipeline. So the same is required for testers also. If you are an Azure or cloud tester, you should be aware about how to utilize Databricks or Data Factory, how to use it for debugging, all these things. So then
Okay.
uh, we will move into the real world use cases, where we will be covering everything like advanced SQL, Databricks, and Data Factory, everything. So then finally we'll have one full project where a full ETL data pipeline will be covered, and then we'll be
Okay.
working on all the things that we have discussed. And then finally we'll have a interview tips and resume preparation tips before we wind up the session. That will help you switch into a career where you will be capable enough to adapt as a cloud ETL tester. This is what we'll be
Okay.
covering throughout the session.
Okay. So, do you have a setup for doing all this? Have you
Yes, yes,
have
yes.
that?
Yeah. So
So
basically
that
for
so
SQL sessions, yeah, we will be
so
using
basically to
SQL
building the
Server.
pipeline. So
Yes,
building
yes.
the pipeline. So we
Yeah,
need to have some set of data, right, to load it to my target.
yeah.
And
So I will be sharing the use cases as well as the data set during the sessions. and you guys can actually adopt it. So basically we'll be using SQL Server for the first sessions of SQL, and then we will start with the cloud section. In that section actually we need Azure portal, and where we have, you guys also have to sign up and then create a portal. So for that you guys need to configure your account, create a free account using your credit or debit card. So you have to do that, but at least try to do it uh, when we are reaching around day 24 or 25, because, or when we start V6, that would also be fine, because otherwise free services of Azure is only for 30 days. So if you guys are going to enroll it now, then it will get expired, right? Because this is a 40-day program. So I would
Yes.
request you to start in week 5 or week 6, early week 6. So Databricks, again, we can have it. We don't need Azure portal. We can separately create an account in Databricks and we can work on that. And when it comes to the final real-time project, we will use Azure portal for building the data pipeline and testing it.
Okay.
So it's like you would be explaining the how to create ETL in ADF, and then you test it, or you directly go to testing concepts.
So we will build a simple solution just for your understanding initially. Then I will show you how the real world scenarios comes, like how data engineers work. And then if we face any data issues or data mismatches, mostly as a tester, we will be analyzing all these data mismatches, data loss, or any other data related issues, right? So we'll be covering all those in testing perspective. Either it can be in data factory side or in the notebooks in Databricks. So
Okay, so
yeah,
whatever you explain in terms of testing perspective.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
And why do we need Python? Like how do we code
yeah,
PDF, or how do we do?
yes, yes. So why do we need Python is basically, these days Python is one of the important skill every tester should be, not just ETL testers, but every tester should be aware. So people with that skill is on higher demand now. We will be covering only the basics. Why? Because as a tester, if you know the basics, that itself is a good thing, because basics is something everybody is like everybody is having a starting trouble to learn something new, right? Same goes with the Python learning as well. So even I was also having the same feeling when I was just 3 years experience. So but after learning the basics, I was able to build some solutions as well for automating my manual task. That is what I will be covering this, but it's not a full-fledged automation, I can say. It's just you see, it is just to do our work easier, like in the
Uh,
sense data
what
cleaning, data matching. Yeah,
my question was, like, do we use Python in Azure inside coding,
yes,
or
yes, yes.
inside?
So
Inside? Okay.
yeah, so that is where we have the Databricks. Inside Databricks, we will create notebooks where we'll be using Python as a scripting language, and we will utilize the pandas library for data comparison and data cleansing activities.
Are
And
we using
You
any
know,
automation? Are we using any tool like PowerShell or Azure CLI for
no,
validation?
no, no, no. This is like you
Okay.
think, you can think of, in ETL we get data from multiple sources, right? So all these sources can be hosted in different domains or servers. So we are actually integrating those data and moving that to the single destination. So when it comes
Okay.
to
So
validation,
monitoring like data pipelines in ADF. Are we covering this also?
yes, yes, exactly, we have to cover, because that is one of the tasks involved in an ETL cloud tester.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
scheduling and monitoring are the thing that we require, right?
Sorry, Swarup, can you come again?
Yeah, scheduling and monitoring of the pipeline, probably that will be our task as a QA.
Uh, yeah, we can do that, but I can show you that, but we'll not be doing it, because scheduling is one of the thing that is possible in inside Azure Data Factory, as well as there is another tool, Azure Logic App. That
Okay.
application is also providing scheduling activity. So we can see that, but we will not utilize it. Maybe based on the time and availability, we'll consider that. I will note it down.
Okay. Okay. Airflow and
The tool we are using
control.
for this ETL with Azure.
Sorry, sorry, can you come again? I lost in between. Hello,
And
who was
I have
speaking?
one.
Okay, yeah,
That is
Harish.
Harish.
Yeah, Harish, tell me.
Like in this, whatever the task and whatever the steps that you are going to explain, would you be documenting in a MS Word document and sharing it with the because otherwise we would
Uh,
be skipping the steps, the videos. This was my
like,
requirement actually. You can have a
mm,
Word document with this. That would be easy to follow.
you mean the real practice sessions or all the
No,
sessions?
any all the sessions, whatever you are explaining, if you can give the steps in a Word document.
You can always refer to this recording. I think that will be accessible for you for lifetime.
So, if I keep
Yeah.
accessing the video, that is taking a longer duration. If it is a
Mm-hmm.
step, I think I want to copy a value. That would be easy, to follow the steps. I face
Okay.
this issue with the AWS training also. Every time
Okay.
I have to play this video.
Okay. Let me check. If you're not able to join, okay. Let me. I know that this is a common problem for everyone. Let me see what I can do for that.
Even
Or
if
else
I
we can
join,
do it, or or else we can do this session on an alternate basis, or yeah, or else on Monday to Friday, Wednesday, or Monday to Thursday. We can opt Friday as well. Friday, Saturday, Sundays.
Okay. That will again change the schedule, right? So that if you guys suggest that, you can like communicate that with the Isha team, and we'll see how many of you are interested in rescheduling it. Based on that, we will plan accordingly. Okay, because
Okay,
I
so
know
any
that most of you will be busy. Yeah,
by any chance are we which tool we are going to use? Like, are we using Azure, like SQL database, Azure SQL database, or Azure Data Factory, or Azure Synapse
yeah, we will be.
Analytics? Are we?
Azure Synapse Analytics will not be covering because that is a bigger topic. So,
Mhm.
but if we know Azure SQL, how to utilize Azure Data Factory, everything, it is easy to understand Azure Synapse Analytics. So that is a full-fledged tool, but these are actually having a data integration capability. So like we will have data storage in SQL, then we will use the pipelines. We will develop the pipelines using Data Factory. Then we'll write complex logics in Databricks notebook. So we'll be covering in a normal ETL fashion, like extract, transform, and load.
Okay, and what about Git? Git for source control.
We are not using Git in this course, so we will be
Okay.
using like yeah. So I will be sharing the data set with you guys. You can create and build the pipelines.
In Data Factory as well.
Yes. So basically the data will be created inside Azure storage systems, right? So I will be sharing that. Uh, Mostly the same sessions. I will try to cover at least couple of the same scenarios in during the SQL sessions, so that once you guys work on SQL session, the same data set you are already familiarized, same we can implement in Azure sessions as well. That is what I was planning. So if you guys have any other opinion, you can tell me.
Can you cover airflow or any scheduling just maybe half an hour?
Airflow, instead of Airflow only we are covering Data Factory. So we are basically uh, like this course is prepared to utilize Azure's cloud services fully. Like if you are put into a project where Azure is being utilized, you will have the hands-on in all the available Azure tools and services. So that is something what we are going to cover in this course. So Airflow
Okay.
will not be covered. Yes.
But Airflow is used for
And Azure,
scheduling, or it is used for transformation as well.
Sorry, your voice was breaking for
So
me.
Airflow will be used, is a tool used for scheduling only, or it is used for transformations also?
I believe it is used as a data pipeline for establishing the data flow activity, if I'm
Okay.
not wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
and so what about Azure Blob Storage?
Yes, we are utilizing it for storing our data.
Okay,
So, yeah, that is not specifically mentioned, but it will be covered in the course because that is something we need for storing the data.
perfect. Okay.
Yeah. And one more thing to notice, like since we are dealing with heterogeneous data while validating as an ETL tester, we face challenges in completing the validation within the timeline, or we may face data issues since the data is getting huge, right? So that is where we can utilize the Python script. We can write a query, I mean a Python script, to have the data cleansing activities or data comparison activities written using the pandas library, so which will help us to compare a huge set of data within minutes. We'll be covering that as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is what we are covering for today's session. Tomorrow we'll see more about other concepts. If you guys have no other questions, maybe we can wind up for today. Thank you all for joining the session.
Aarti, can you please add me in the WhatsApp group?
Yeah, I have already communicated with the Isha team because I'm not the group admin. So
Oh,
they said they will work on it. Maybe probably I will follow up with again. Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all for joining.